Hello everyone, it's Lennon. Welcome back to the channel. Today I thought that I would kind of look at these three decks together. They've been working in my, lately I've been working with all three as one will act as like a clarifier for the other. And I thought that for I guess a video diary, I would like to see them side by side in like a flip through format. It's gonna kind of remind me of Mixtress Ray's unfair comparison videos, which fill me with such joy. I just love watching and listening to her talk about how the decks they fit together, and sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, and it's just like really cool. So it's gonna kind of remind me of that. But I wanted to talk about these decks specifically because each one of them been helping me lately write and review my newest book, which is my Divine Feminine poetry book that's coming out later on this month. So I've been working heavily with each of these, as I guess I would consider each of these decks like decks of the Divine Feminine in a way. And that's the Goddess of Love, the Tarot of the Crone, and the Shining Tribe. Now, this is the OG Shining Tribe. There is a mass market out now, but this is my original copy. So I just thought it would be so cool to look at them together because they've been working so well, clarifying one another. Say I've got this and I pull a card, I'll pull one from this. You don't always see tarot clarifying the tarot, but I have found it a really good practice, especially with writing my poetry, using the guidebooks, using the changes, the keywords that are changed. I love that this is change to void. Most of the changes that occur in Goddess of Love have been deal makers for me. I just have fallen in love with the changes. Void is something that I actively work with in my witchcraft. So to see it presented here in the face of technically a goddess, for me, I work with chaos, who is one of the faces in the poetry book that I've wrote. I just love that. I love that each full card kind of sets the tone, for the deck. And I like the color differentiation between all these. Because it really mirrors what I think of the Divine Feminine. And writing poetry comes from such a internal place for me that I really rarely need help. Okay, and it's not help as in I'll read something and say this is the High Priestess. I'll put priestess in the poem. It doesn't always happen like that. It's more like if I pulled the High Priestess, depending on which High Priestess I pick, because all these energies vary, they vary in small ways, right? And I know it's kind of dark, but I'm just really doing this, like I said, as a video diary. But I could say something in the poem about the energy of what I'm seeing in the card, could be about the columns, could be about the fact that, a standing stone. I think standing stone actually did make it in one of my poems. I can't remember who it was for. Also, but if you're interested in looking at the book and going through some of the poems that I've written down for the book, I'm doing a book launch party on Hecate's Night, which is when the book launches on Amazon. So be sure to come over to the channel on November 16th on Hecate's Night for a big book launch. I'll be reading some of the poems and going through the books, going through the book with you guys. We're on the Emperor already. I don't know why I was going so slow with this one. Each of these, now Tarot of the Crone has been I guess you would call it my soul deck since I got it. It's just been my all-time favorite deck to work with. Not necessarily in a big tarot under the tarot umbrella, but for my spiritual practice. This has been my deck for my spiritual practice. Now, the Shining Tribe, I've had a little less time than the Tarot of the Crone, but for some reason, I only pull it out when I'm like in need. Now I used to, actually, to be honest, the Shining Tribe has replaced what the Mother Piece used to do for me. But after the controversy of the Mother Piece, which I have a video on the channel about the controversy, but I loved that deck so much. I still do, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. I still love that deck, but I don't pull it out as often because it kind of, like, it's got bad juju now. And so it's kind of stained my relationship with it a little bit. Love that these were named Tradition for the Hierophant. Just love that. Actually, Ellen Lorenzi Prince, the creatrix of the Tarot of the Crone, sees Hecate. This deck is devoted to Hecate, and she works with Hecate in the Crone sense. So it's not exactly how I see Hecate. I don't really work with Hecate as the triple goddess, because the triplicity of her was more about the crossroads, not necessarily like the triplicity. So I work with Hecate much like she does, but just not in a Crone way. But I do work with her in aspects of the crossroads. I did actually consciously pull out this card specifically to have on like I put it on my keyboard while I was writing the majority of my Hecate chapter. Hecate being one of my main goddesses that I work with. This Chariot has filled me with so much love because this statue is actually, I referenced this statue in Synthesis series is my Oracle books that are out. Currently, I've got 2 out. The 3rd one comes out in December. And for one of those images, I used this exact statue to reference a drawing as a like reference material. So to see it here in the Chariot, it was just like so cool because I've seen and actually actively worked with this image to reference some of my own folk art for my Oracle books. So it's so cool. All right, we're getting behind. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, we got the Chariot. Love this iconic witch for the Chariot. Strength and Justice seem to be all wonky across the board. You know, it just all depends on the deck and the author preference, but whatever. I do love that this is Lust. I just cannot express how much I like Lust in place of Strength. I know that Fortitude and Strength are it's a very powerful card in tarot, but I like Lust because it still gets me in touch with like the primal and the fortitude and standing firm, stuff like that. I think this is Demeter. I haven't read the whole guidebook, but I like how there's like, you know, like in this deck, there's like rose imagery, but I like how there's peaches here. For some reason, I just think that in place of the rose blossoms that we see, I think that the peaches are so cool here. Of course, this bag lady is, again, iconic for me. The wheel. Love the labyrinth. I actually really appreciate Sheila Nagig because she, like in the Dark Goddess Tarot, which is also by Prince, we see Sheila Nagig as the Fool, which I very much kind of think of her that way. But to see her in the Wheel of Fortune has knocked me completely all the way around. You know, do love labyrinthine images for the wheel though. Love this Bernini here. Oh, just love him so much. I love the use of symbols in the Goddess of Love, but I also really love the snake as a form of the beast that we see for Strength. I love the snake because the serpent energy is very, very prominent with me. I do like all the Hanged Ones. I kind of like that this is a sacrifice because it's more so about, you know, perspective and all that, yes. But I love the water. Water has to be in the Hanged Ones for me because, and this card woke me up to this. It's about your reflection, looking into your reflection. Not necessarily like Narcissus, but when you gain that perspective, you're looking into your own face in a wobbled way. So I like to see that. Of course, iconic deaths across the board here. I like this shamanistic Grim Reaper here. Like they're wearing ritual robes, almost like we're going to step into this celebration of life. And then with this skeleton's feet still being in this voided coffin area, there's an emergence with this death, which I really appreciate. And then, of course, we've got the indomitable Kali here. It's kind of, when I'm doing this, it kind of feels weird to look at the, like, to feel the card stocks of each. They're all different. I've always loved the alchemy of the Temperance cards. I love the placement of the symbols in each. Because as fragmented as collage decks seem to be, there's always a method to the madness, which I love. But then this, which is like this Rachel Pollack's primitive art to me, this folkish art, is kind of indicative of my own art in large ways, but it's fragmented as well, which I kind of like. It's kind of like looking at a tattooed tarot card. Iconic Fire and Ice Walk. This has been my all-time favorite devil of all time. Eating your own flesh, okay? But this one has this kind of, you get to decide whether you're going to come hither, right? I like that. Also, Lilith being one of mine. Come on. She's just lovely here. I like that she's got kind of a bob, like more of a modern haircut. I kind of like that. Instead of like the long flowing locks. The Tower as Ereshkigal, another one of my faces that's in the book. This was cool to have her represented in this deck, but the phallus, it does say in the guidebook that she's a phallic goddess, which I kind of agree with, because when we think of the underworld, we think of it being a very, we don't necessarily think of it being feminine. So to have this kind of phallic goddess, almost making Ereshkigal this androgynine, which again, I kind of like. I like this one. It's like the towers coming from within. These Lorax tree Tesla coil things. Just love the aspect of thunder and lightning explosions. I like those. We have the Queen of the Night relief here, the statue. They call her the Queen of the Night because they do not know whether it's Inanna, Ereshkigal, or Lilith. Scholars believe, most scholars believe that it, oh, sorry, I shook the camera. Most scholars believe that this is a form of a Lilithu, which is a demon, but no one knows for sure. So, but having her be the star, I like that. I like whether it's the Queen of the Night, she's still the Queen of the Night. Like this. This is indicative of my another face of the goddess that's in the poetry book is Nyx. And this cloak of stars here is just so Nyx to me. I like this because it kind of nods us, like, more so than these two. This is really nodding us back to Temperance and how they are linked. And they should be. So, appreciate that. We're wrapping ourselves with the night. And then once we're wrapped with the night, with the cloak of Nyx, then we must set forth on a moonlit path. I like that. I love the little, they look like Edelweiss, but also I can tell in the corner that there's some jasmine there, some, like a aspect of a moon garden. Like that. I think the sun is Sekhmet, or is it Hathor? Let me see. I can't remember. I got the guidebook right here. The sun is Hathor. Sorry. No. Sorry, that was the moon. Hathor's the moon. Sekhmet, yeah. Sekhmet is the sun. I like that it looks like the ankhs here are the lion's earrings. I think I just love that. Very womb, but wheel-like sun here. I don't know how I feel about that. Judgment. I like how these two are renamed. I love that this is called the calling. Like, we're going to wear the cloak now. But then this is this is an awakening, quite literally. With Rachel Pollack's Shining Tribe, it's really about awakening, and it's about going on the journey. And the end of the journey is coming home, which is an aspect of rebirth. But look at the position. I love the position of this figure. And very open. All the judgment cards are so open, you know? Love that. I do like that this is called the heart for the world. Like, this is kind of like a very... All of these portray a very Gaian perspective for me. But this being like an anatomical heart, which I love anatomical hearts, makes me think of the Anima Mundi. So, that's the world. The aces of wands are like my favorite aces of all. But this napalm explosion in the background of this one has knocked me on my ass, because it's really made me think of the Ace of Wands in a totally different light, and I love when tarots do that to me. Love this finger match and the fetus here, where there's a lot of potential growth. Anything can happen. The twos are all about... These twos are about come hither. This is very... Hecate does this to me. She sends me down long, dark hallways. So this is like shared personal gnosis here in this card for me. But this with the temple in the background, and then this with like the arms open, like calling down the mountain almost. Very shamanistic to me. It's about come hither, come to the temple, come to sacred space. And the twos in these decks have transformed me into changing it to a come hither vibe, which I guess the goddess of love would love. They would like that. Castles in the sky. I do appreciate the witch's pyramid here, because it makes me think about the work involved in this house. None seem to be like celebratory, but that's okay. It's not about that. It's something deeper than that. It's about dreaming. I think this is more about the fours here, about dreaming, you know, and then the fives are about what we need to do to stick up for our dreams and stick up for our words, and what are we willing to do to catch those dreams. I do appreciate the Six of Wands. Well, first of all, this jewel here on the belly button reminds me of those trolls. I used to love those when I was a kid, but my mom threw them out. She thought that they were satanic icons or idols, whatever. But I like that the roses are in place of the head. For me, that imagery makes me think that it's ego victory. So what you want isn't for like the greater good. You've gotten a victory, and it's more pride. You're just doing it for people to throw roses at you. It's like the end of a theater performance. But who knows? Who knows? Love the use of animals. This reminds me of a lot of other decks that I've seen out, like the lions. What is it called? The lion heart or whatever. That have very like cheetah, tiger, the Bengal tiger, the jaguar kind of energy, instead of the main ones we see, like the lions. We see a lot more, I guess you call it Eastern animals, which I do appreciate. Love the backbone here in the 7. I think that's pretty cool. Really appreciate there's not 8 rods flying through the air here, okay? Love that. We get, instead of the rods flying through the air, it's the goddess flying through the air. The 8s to me are very ritualistic. They are. They're, all the 8s are ritualistic for me. The 9s look ritualistic, but it's ritualistic in a balanced way, right? Again, there's this come hither, we're in sacred space, right? Like, and then with the 8s, it's the ritual itself, and then the 9s is all about this blossoming out to begin anew. It's like the step, that liminal, 9s of liminal. Love these frolicking maidens. Oh, I love them. And the 10s starting all over with the aces. Love the aspect of the explosions here. With this butterfly figure here with like the burnt flames on it, really reminds me of this being an Icarus card, which for the 10 of Wands works for me so well. Like this kind of forest fire feeling, you know? There will be growth, but, you know, you got to get through the catastrophe first. Now, the court cards have been changed, okay? With the Goddess of Love, it's the faces of the Divine Feminine. And all court cards to me are about the aspect of maturing and maturity. So we've got the Maiden, the Witch, the Queen, and the Crone. With the Tarot of the Crone, we have Beast, Witch, Grandmother, and Shadow. I do like how she incorporates the shadow. How the King is not the king in terms of that feeling. It's more about it becoming the shadow, the darker aspects of what we might go through in that suit. And then Rachel Pollack explains in her big old tome of a guidebook for this deck that this is the hero's journey inside of everyone's life and different for each suit. So the way she explains it is there's first you come to the place. This is the temple of the spiritual journey. Then you gain your confidence, gain what you need to go off on that journey. You're overconfident, you're cocksure, all that kind of stuff. Then you get the boon of spirit while you're on the journey, right? This is the journey itself and the coming back. And the boon sits at the center, like in between you going and coming back, right? And then when you've come back, you're the speaker, you're the storyteller now. You tell your story to give others the courage to go on their own. So that's her trajectory with the courts for her. So still pretty good. I love this witch because it looks like she's like flying from home on her magical cat. Now, I do agree with the gift being the grandmother, because the grandmother is going to kind of tell you what you need to know, and the queen is very compassionate, right? So they all hold the same kind of gifted role, where they're going to show you what you need to be shown in this boon way, but it may not be what you want to know, you know? It's kind of, this is, the queens here remind me of Baba Yaga's, like, hey, be careful what you ask me because I'm going to tell you the truth and you may not be ready for it. So just know that. And then the crone, of course, could really actually be the aspect of storytelling. But also in the shadow, it's a becoming. This image, when I first saw it, just blew my socks off because the snake has become her head, right? So it's this delicate balance between predator and prey, where you know that you have to become the beast when you're its predator. And so she's literally become the snake. Almost like throughout the course of the journey, the snake's been chasing you. It's been the villain, but then you turn around and you face the beast and you realize that it wasn't the villain. So I like that. Get into the cups, which are the rivers here. These are more elemental and more shamanistic, more earthy. So it's trees, rivers, stones, and trees, rivers, stones, and birds as the swords. Very elemental. I love the hurricane in the background of all the cups. I do appreciate that. The swan is gorgeous here. The rain, rain, go away songs playing out with that. Two of Cups is all about connection, all about love. But to me, with these three, it's all about the sisterhood. It kind of feels sisterhood like when I don't get together with women ever. The last time I went on a trip with my mother and my aunt like a year ago. But it didn't feel like slumber party, frolicking. It didn't feel like we were laying on the couch in our 90s, giggling, doing hair. It wasn't like that. You know, it was a lot more mature than that. Now, you kind of want the more mature relationships with your women folk. But I kind of, you know, an aspect of you kind of misses it. You know, you're like, let's get the beads out. Let's make some jewelry. Let's lay around on the couch and be all Sophia Coppola for a little while, you know? You kind of miss that aspect of sisterhood. So this card reminds me of that so much, of like the missed slumber party. And maybe it's just the aspect of the way you get to connect with others. Love the pearls in the cup suit of the goddess of love. Just love that. Triangle symbolism here. A mask. Lots in the Tarot of the Crone. I have found that there's lots of Russian doll symbolism. This aspect of ancestry living within you. So that does pull me firmly to the goddess. More lackadaisical stuff, right? Now, see, the 5 is all about, to me, maybe standing at the precipice of self-flagellation. Like this. Like we're right before we determine whether we need to punish ourselves. And we rarely have good reasons to do so. But in aspects of the divine feminine, it's even more crucial for me because I feel like in my opinion, I feel like women punish themselves more than men, but it could be that I am a woman. It could be that I am a woman, and that might be why I think that, but gifts. It's like reciprocal. I like that this is a mermaid, I like that. This has always filled me with this give and take. We're giving into the ritual and we get back the magic kind of thing. This body of the goddess here is gaining the rose of the river. The ultimate boon of the river. The water house here. With the nymph or the siren, I guess you could call it. Eight again. Like I said, I like the aspect of ritual, you know? All of these look like ritual. Now, she doesn't look terribly ritualistic, but still kind of like an awakening, a twisting, you know, a transformation is happening. Can we just say that this is like the best Nine of Cups ever? Like the twisting legs, the twisting bodies of the goddess. I like the aspect of these broken vessels. I kind of like that. Like, we fix what we break. You reap what you sow kind of thing. And with this being orgasmic in a way, this deck, really, this whole deck being kind of orgasmic in a way, makes me think of that, you know? And even also the aspect of, like, maybe even purity, stuff like that, like, but, who knows? Ten of Cups, a lot of star, you know, like this emerging. Come to the court cards again. Beasts of burden. Very cave. I love this image where she's like praying. There's the convergence of the river. She came from the cave up here. The goddess altar is up there. There's just like this very sacred glade, meadow thing happening. The maidens in like these remind me of this priestess element, the priestess. The witches, the cocksure witches, the confident witches. There's a lot of confidence in here with this pose of this image. I love that she's sitting on these like piles of seashells She's collecting. It's like this aspect of the Witch of Cups, the knower of rivers, about collecting. Like she's emerging out of the cave that we just saw the priestess at. Like the goddess has emerged to show you what's what, or to tell you what's what. And then the grandmother and the gift and the queen here, way more confidence. Love these open poses for the cups. I really appreciate that. But I love the sense of coming together too. The confident coming together. Again, the crossroads here, bringing the grandchildren in. It's very loving. In the shadow, we're drowning properly here. I talk about that on the channel a lot. We're drowning properly in the shadow of cups. And that's the whole night of the soul, dark night of the soul, reawakening. Basically, the shadow of the cups, the king of cups, the crone, whatever. The story that's being told in these cards, all of these cards, is if we drown properly, we're living to tell the tale. We prevail. That's the word I'm going to use for all three of these. We prevail. Love the mirror with that prevail keyword. All right, now we're getting into the swords. I love the swords in all these. I'm going to move these off to the side because we're getting a little weirded out by all these cards. Okay. Love the aces in this. It's very downloading. Now, with birds, sky, right? We're sky, we're in the cloud, with shining tribe. Very Isis and Horus here, the Two of Swords. I do like this because it nods us back to the High Priestess. Yes, I think I saw that on Racine's channel. She said, maybe this looked like a High Priestess. But with Isis and Horus, there's not any blind spots for me there. So it doesn't 100% work, but the fact that the imagery itself nods us back to the priestess, again, makes me appreciate the twos. This aspect of mirroring, right? Mirroring, and again, mirroring back to the high priestess and the two pillars and this concept of which way we're gonna go. Yes, which way? It's like the door knockers of Labyrinth. I mean, I love this three of swords, but I kind of wish that there was an anatomical heart here. But they've used that before, so do love the crystal hearts. I just fucking love that. I like that this kind of nods us back to the tower a little bit. I do like that. This Four of Birds has shown up for me when I needed it the most. Just flat out, this particular four has flown out of the deck when I needed it. Like, hey, you've been climbing this mountain for a long time. You need to embody the bird, rest, nest up, kind of go into hermit mode a little bit, but rest up because you need to embody the bird. You need to embody the bird goddess. Love this like hallway temple here. Oh my god, I love that. Like, I'm going in there to sleep. I'm going in there to rest. It's very windmill, but also beacon-like. This is very lighthouse-like. Like, maybe these are shards of light. I always thought that. We're going in. We're going into places to rest. Look at this desolate trees. I like that. This is very shards. The Five of Swords is all about shards. Let's see. What is it about? Desolation. I do like desolation. But desolation kind of maybe comes later. Back to the swan here. I like that. I do like the aspect of sacred geometry. I do. But see, the Six of Swords to me is like all about we're riding the wave. We're surfing here, right? This is all about getting what you need for innovation. And see, she's still resting. So maybe there's this aspect of like rest that comes still in the 6. Like, okay, you've rested up, but now you need to decide if you're gonna go to the greener shores, greener pastures. 7. Very nice. Love all these. Y'all. 2 like this. I love this 8 of birds. Oh, I love this one. We're going up. This is a, quite literally, this 8 is, she's performing divination down here, but there is a reawakening. We're spiraling up this dead tree. We're magi in the Fern Gully, okay? And we've got the seed in our hand. Oh, love the crystals here. Oh my god, I love them. I like this aspect of like the crystal cave for the 9. That does, see, and there's more caves. The owl standing guard. You can tell it's night because of the owl and the what looks like purple bats. She's very, Rachel Pollack has a way of putting forth her primitive art that makes you automatically know what's happening. It's really good. There's a balance here. I like that. Ooh. Y'all know I love me some bone. Y'all put a whole rib cage in the tin. I love that. The ravens up here. Yes. Oh my god. A lot of birds. A lot of birds here. It's like she's calling out to something on a hill here. These look like imps more than bats, but whatever. Alright. And we got more quartz of the swords. Okay. Maiden. I do like her. I like this staircase. This enlightenment with the beast of sword. The page of swords is like enlightenment, right? We're enlightened, but we're still kind of naive. We still don't really know. I like how all this looks very divinatory, very stone circle, very like one of those drawstring circle bags that has all your charms in, charm casting. I like that. How we have to charm our way. We have to divination our way through the sight. Ooh, I like this witch. This witch of swords is very warrior-like, which I mean, for this to be technically in the knight position, I do like that this is a warrior, but the knight of swords, yeah, he's a lot cocksure for me. Okay. Let me see. Grandmother bird here. Grandmother bird, got a shield. Okay. Like a bird shaman here. I like this too. This queen. Oh my god. I love this so much. And her. Look, her hair. Oh my god. Please. Fragmented crone speaker. This is very storytelling for me. These together, I'm really loving these together. Oh, yeah. Aces. Now we're in the pentacles. Let's see what the pentacles have to say. Love the sacred geometry here. Oh, love it so much. I say that a lot, but these are some of my favorite decks. Now all of these, very body of the goddess. Very mountain-esque. The body, the actual body, which I love. And then we see this Venus of Willendorf here. which of course is like one of my most iconic images that I utilize. The snakes. And even though this is like pentacles, there's still an aspect of this coming out of the water too. Like this frog and a turtle. But the turtle, I think this is like the turtle of the world, because it looks like it's the world turtle. Look at this 3. Oh, look at the 3. Love the sacred geometry. Love the emeralds. Love the pomegranates. It's just like nod back to, let me look in the guidebook. I think this could be another rendition of Persephone, but I don't know. 3 of Pentacles reminds you to appreciate the stability you've made and continue to make, and how this growth has been interwoven with community. You are not alone, and life is not a solitary act. Okay. Doesn't say. It doesn't say that it's Persephone, but I like that it's Persephone. I like this. Isn't this like a powerful ass 3 of discs here? Snake, birds, and people. And it's like this triangular. All of them make me think of the triangle, right? Like the Hocus Pocus. Form a calming circle, you know? We've got to build the stability. Come to me, sisters. Yes, for 4. We're going into the cave. We're going into the bed. This is another goddess figure. But the key makes me think that we're going into a sacred space of rest. So, okay, 5 5s. Look at this hard-working crone here. I just appreciate the ever-loving hell out of her. Very ghost, very, I don't know, we're ghost-like. Let's see, this looks like a, like with this red velvet in the back, it looks kind of like a table. Like we're looking down at the magician's table here, which I don't know, I kind of like. A part of me likes that. That I'm like I'm looking down at a table or something. Like we're looking down at the tools that we're gonna have to use. Look at these hands. Oh my God, they're so pretty. Scales, mirroring. This almost looks like the eyeball. Are these dice? This is another divinatory. See, like there's dice, seeds, what looks like X1X. So that's like a ripped off piece of paper. These could be oghams. It's very this 6 of Stones is very divinatory with all these like aspects. I mean, these dice look kind of wonky, but maybe that was her purpose. I don't know. Me, I took the path less traveled. That's what this card makes me think of. Oh, look at how crystalline the mountain is in this card. See the background, the sky here in the background makes me think of the backs of the cards. The way that they've mirrored it on top of one another. Yeah, I like that. We're cultivating, right? We're cultivating. Not sure how this is cultivating anything, but this could just be like a maintenance chart. Possibly. I don't know. Fortifying. I like the helixes here around the sun. Okay. I do like this. Mixtress actually pointed the 6 breast out, which there's a painting, I might leave it below. There's several paintings, but also statuesque of the goddess with the many-breasted goddess. that I love so much. I love the fecundity, right? Which is the Eight of Pentacles to me, is fecundity and resilience. This is Rachel herself. I kind of like, I've always liked the simplicity of this, because we normally see this woman in her garden kind of thing. This with the garden present here is like, just, I love that. But then this is about community more so than the garden, right? And we know that if our garden's doing well, that's okay, that's good. But it's about the community. That these nines of discs are about community. Okay. I like these. I like these. I like that we've this looks, again, fortified in a way, like we've dammed up the river in a way with the stones, right? In a very ritualized way. We're damming something up like a beaver. All right, now we've got the court cards of the Pentacles. Love this pig in the Tarot of the Crone. All right, antler, again, the body of the goddess here. Into the hill, right? Like the hill is alive with the body of the goddess. This emergence out of the garden here, like that. Emerging out of these irises. Oh, I appreciate that. Don't you just love this? Like, oh my God. I love her wrinkles. I love her jewelry. I just love her. And this person's hair, it made me think of, it actually did make me think of the Knight of Pentacles in such a different way. This very hair standing on end. The anxiety of keeping things controlled, right? Like, you know, in the Rider-Waite-Smith, we see like this very stoic looking guy on a horse, and he's looking over his aerated field, okay? Can you imagine the anxiety? He's got so many fields he's got to plow, he's got farmers he's got to look after, and there could be a lot of anxiety surrounding running a business in that way. And it does probably feel like your hair is standing on end. But this unicorn here, what they're doing that, like the hair flop herbal essence commercial thing. I just love that. My grandmother, my actual grandmother, actually painted a picture. She died before I was born, but she painted a picture that hangs in my mother's house on a block of wood, and it looks, the figure in that painting looks exactly like this girl, and she's putting a pie. The woman that my grandmother painted is putting a pie in one of those old ovens, like old fire ovens like this, and I love that image so much. Just like the hard work of keeping a house, right? So this always reminds me of that painting. That if I had my say, I'll get that painting when I'll inherit it. I like these beasts in this. I love the beasts in this. Yeah, I appreciate all these. God, the what they've used in this deck is so crazy. Love it. I didn't look at this one. Yeah, I like it. Alright, and the last card, we got the Shadow of Discs. It's very desolate land, but there's still a spider spinning its web. There's a skeleton over here. There's an ant. Even though it may seem desolate, that doesn't mean something can't grow and something can't flourish there. In the harshest conditions, there's still living things that flourish. This goddess right here is like, God, the best thing. Oh, I love this. Love this so much. And I love that the flowers are in bud. So we think of the Crone as being the wilting, right? And I do. But to see it bud, like to see buds, like we are at the cusp of starting all the way over in the Crone status, that the Crone lives in the buds as well, not just the wilts. And this is like we're way up high and we're looking at the ground. We're looking at the different farms and how it's kind of like crop circles in a way, and it kind of makes up the body of the goddess. Okay. All right. Well, there was a look at these 3 decks together. I really, really enjoyed this. Y'all let me know how y'all like these decks together. I'm going to shuffle the hell out of these and work with them some more, like I've been doing. But look together, they looked fantastic together. So y'all let me know how y'all liked them side by side. I hope y'all are having a magical day. Much love.